Hello, today I will be showing you a walkthrough of a recent shoot that I did with my wife using my V-flats. This is the before image and this is the after. So I will be discussing exactly how I got to this point. So first, I start with a frequency separation. As you see here, the high layer and the low layer. High layer deals with the texture and the low layer deals with the color. So this is before and after of the texture layer and the color layer. So what I do here, I mainly do a lot of my work healing brush on the texture layer, of removing all of the blemishes that you see. It's very detailed, takes a lot of time, but if you put time into your work, you will get great results. And next, what I do after the frequency separation, which usually takes me about 20 to 30 minutes, I go into a micro dodge and burn, and I use my help layer to get this part of it. So I do a black and white layer and usually bring it down to about 30 or 40 or so, and then I just change my I can do a new layer, change it to blending mode to soft light, and make sure that my brush is set to flow 1%, opacity 100 to build up, and I use black and white brush to darken the light areas and brighten the dark areas. And I just go through the entire image using this micro dodge and burn, where I zoom in, macro, and just lighten every little small area. As you can see, this is the before and the after. I usually spend about an hour or so, depending on how big the image is. The bigger the image, just the detail of the face, the longer I spend on the image. So with this image, because it's considered a beauty image, you want to spend a little bit more time getting out those dark and light areas. But as you can see, it takes some time. So you want to soften up the lines underneath the eye here, not to completely take it away. You want to keep it as if she's real, but not like a mannequin. So we just soften the lines, and then we just go around the image, and we just spend a little time removing all of the light areas and dark areas to blend the skin a little better. Okay. So that's about an hour or so work, depending on the image size. Next, I turn off the black and white layer, and I do a skin layer where I build up the color. So the first thing that I do is I do a skin saturation, a saturation blend mode, and I remove a little bit of redness out of her skin. So I take it to about, usually depending on the person's skin texture, skin color, will your variation of the numbers will change. But with my wife, I chose minus 23 for the saturation. So this is the before and after of that. So this is her natural color before, and then this is with the saturated. Next, I do a new layer and fill the layer with color. So new layer, and I pick the paint bucket tool, make the selection of her skin color, a really good texture skin color, somewhere usually around her chest area, or just anywhere where it's not really too light to go away from her skin texture. But choose a color. Once the color is chosen, you change your blending mode to color, and then you add a mask, and it ends up looking like this. So it's very subtle, not a lot of change, it's very subtle. But basically what it does, you can kind of see it in the cheek area. Oops. You can kind of see it in the cheek area where we filled that color in. We will build this back up later in the video, but it kind of blends in a little better. It's always great to have a makeup artist on set that can do this for you. She did her own makeup. She's not a makeup artist, but I think she did a really good job at doing her makeup herself for this test shoot. But you just add the color back, and then next I add a black and white layer, and I change the blending mode to multiply to make her skin a little bit more brown. For African Americans, I do this for a lot of African Americans, depending on what kind of skin texture or color I'm trying to get in their skin. So this is how it looks after that, and then typically at 100%, this is how it looks. Usually when it's on this blending mode, I usually go around to see if there's anything I need to fix that I missed in the micro dodge and burn area. But this looks pretty good for the most part. And then I just bring it down depending on the image and the color of the skin. For this, I brought it down to about 15%. And then this is the before and this is the after. Typically I do this, but not usually, but I change the blend diff mode on here for the top layer, and then the top layer and the underlying layer, just to kind of soften the highlights a little bit in her nose, on her chest, on her forehead and underneath her eye, underneath her lip. And then I blend in the darkened areas a little bit to kind of give more shadow area. You can do this or not, it's your preference. I typically don't do this, but I was playing around with it and it came out pretty good, I think. So between these 3 layers, this is about an hour and a half or so. So once I do that, the next thing I do is dodge and burn, a global dodge and burn. So I do a new layer, same as the micro dodge and burn, but I don't do it as micro. I do it as a global, a little wider out, not so far in. But new layer, same as the micro dodge and burn, soft light. Make sure my brush is on 1% flow, 100% opacity, black and white. And this is the global dodge and burn of her face. So you basically just build up the lighting, the darkened areas, and you highlight the highlight areas. You just don't add what's not there, because it won't look right. You have to just flow with where the dark areas are, where the light areas are. but before and after for this. Dr. Burner lips, neck area. This takes about 15 to 20 minutes or so. And then next is just minor. And next, for everything else, is just basically details with little things. This is for the eyebrows. She didn't do her eyebrows, so I still wanted to keep it natural. I didn't want to make it perfect, but I wanted to keep it a little natural. So this is the before and after of the eyebrows, of her eyebrows. So I just basically filled in some of the gapped areas along here. Just filled in those areas, kind of cleaned up around this area here of her brow and around here. Next is her hair fill. So in this area right here, it's a little lighter and it's a little thin in this area. So what I ended up doing was filling in her hair by copying this area of her hair. Just playing around to see how I can do this. Just copy this area and I filled it in this area right here. So this is how this one looks. Oh, sorry, that's that area right here. So I just took this area right here, filled it in, took the blending mode and changed it to darken, maxed it out to opacity of 74%, did a layer mask 74%, and then just kind of blended in just to fill it. Because her hair is naturally curly and wavy, it'll fill in a little bit better. And I did the same thing for the left side here. Just fills it in to make it look natural as possible. And then I just did a new layer and dodge and burn everything, you know, again 1%, 100% opacity, new layer, soft light, blending mode, and then this is how it looks. So this is the hair fill layer before and after. And then this took about 15 minutes or so to kind of get it a little better than what it was. Next, I do the shaping of her face. I like her face the way it is. I think it's good. She has really good shaping in her face and everything. But I did just a little bit of shaping in her hair area here. So this is the after image. So I end up pushing down her shoulders to kind of give it just a little more shape, lifting her chin up here, bringing this a little bit more, and fixing her hairline. Make it just a little even, but again, I don't want to make it perfect. Just still want it to look a little natural. Filled in this gap here when I looked at it. Just overall, just fixed the shaping of the body so it looked more appealing and not so boxy as it looks right now. And I think I fixed a little bit of areas that was like right around here, I think too. So this is the shaping. Again, not too much. Also fixed this little area that was in here between her eye on this layer as well. But again, not too much, just very minimal shaping. Here I added more skin color back into her skin at about plus 9% to give her a little more redness in her skin. So you basically, with the skin color, you just basically just build back up the skin from what it previously was to right here. She's more orange, red, peachy color. Here she looks more evened to what her natural skin looks like in person. once you do all of this, at this point, um, I'm pretty much done with everything. My final thing that I usually do is I add a texture layer to basically build back up texture in her face. Even though right now you can tell she has pretty good skin, texture is really good there, and all of this is basically done with just the frequency separation. Especially if you have a higher pixel camera. I shoot with a Canon 5D Mark III. The lens that I used for this image was a 70 to 200 L lens 2.8. So the glass on there was really good. And I shot this at about maybe 180 millimeters or so. And the Mark IIIs are about 23, 24 megapixels. So this image size was pretty large to begin with. So you can see a lot of detail in the skin. So I just add a little bit of texture back into the skin or the image itself. And what I do is I just do a new stamp tool, which is Command Option Shift E, and I change the blending mode to linear light here. And then once it's on linear light, I go to, in fact, I will show you exactly what I do for that. So here, just a real quick Command Option Shift E does a new stamp layer. Blending mode to linear light. And usually when it's like this, I just go around the image just to make sure that everything is even. There's nothing really out of place skin wise. There's no blotchiness in the skin or what have you. You want to make sure that your image is clean and there is no discoloration or what's so in the image, except for, you know, around these areas where the shadows are. But this looks really good. And once it's on a linear layer, the linear light layer, I go to filter, other, and then high pass. And then what this is going to do, this is going to add a high pass layer to the image. And I always keep mine at 1 pixel. I don't go any higher than this. Never have to. 1 pixel is more than enough. If you go too high, then the pixel, then it starts to look really weird and too sharpened like that. But 1% is 1 pixel is good. And you hit OK, and then let me delete this layer. You hit OK, and then your image. Oops. The image looks like this, and I bring my opacity down to between 10 and 15% depending on the image size. But with this image, I did 10%. I just want a little bit of texture just to kick it back in there. It's very subtle, very, very, very subtle. So then I noticed that this area right here in her face was kind of annoying me. So what I ended up doing was another frequency separation, as well as like this highlight area here. I did another frequency separation layer to kind of fix this area a little bit better than what it was. Again, it's very subtle. And then I did a dodge and burn layer, color under her eye. For a few things that I noticed. I did an under eye dodge and burn and an under eye color. So the reason why I did 2 layers, one for color and one for dodge and burn, soft light, was because I wanted to dodge and burn in some of the areas and then use the color layer also. So this was a dodge and burn area that I did. Right around this area over here. This area right here was a little bit darker than what it was supposed to be. So I lighten this area up a little bit. Lighten this area up a little bit. And then the color was the same. Open this area a little bit. Open this area just for the color. And then I still wasn't too satisfied with the hairline, so I ended up just fixing it just a little bit more. Yeah. There we go. So I just kind of brought it down some. It still wasn't even, so I ended up bringing it down a little more just to make it a little bit better than what I previously had it. And so that's it for my beauty retouch of my wife's image. I hope you liked it. If you have any questions or any thoughts or any opinions, everything I have done is all subjective of my opinion of how I retouch. I know others have their own way of how they retouch, but if you have any questions or if you want to just give nice comments, they're more than welcome. If you have any negative comments, those are also welcome, but I prefer just more positive comments. So please like my Facebook page. It's Antoine Maxwell Photography. I'll put everything at the bottom of my YouTube channel link. And follow me on Instagram, Antoine Maxwell Photography. And also visit my website at AntoineMaxwellPhotography.com. All my links will be published on the bottom of the link. Thanks.